Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Fun Indian Guy podcast. Today's podcast is going to be a bit different because first time ever we have a guest on a podcast, and I was looking forward to this for a long time because I really wanted a guest to be on this podcast. So our first guest is none other than Prachi, also known as Earthyworthy. If you see her Instagram, she's a photographer, also a cinematographer, and today's podcast is going to be all about the creative fields, career as a creator, other things around creativity which we're gonna explore. So today's podcast is gonna be a bit longer than usual, so if you get tired in between, don't worry, don't sit on YouTube, just go on the links down below so that you can just hear the podcast while doing your work, commuting, or doing whatever you want, and you can listen to the podcast at the same time. In this section where we are introducing the guest, it should happen quite a lot. We will get more guests. I'm going to talk a lot on this section, but after the intro, I'm just going to ask the questions and she's going to answer the questions and we're going to discuss around it. It's going to be wonderful. Anyway, towards the end of the podcast, we also have question and answer. So on my Instagram, The Fun Indian Guy, I asked people to ask questions for the podcast regarding creativity. So there are a lot of questions which we're going to discuss towards the end of the podcast. So without any further ado, let's roll the intro and let's begin the conversation with Prachi. Let's go.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Suyog, also known as the Fun Indian Guy. I'm a designer, musician, filmmaker, and a mechanical engineer. I'm from India, and currently I'm chilling around, traveling around, working around, roaming around, having fun around Europe, and this is my podcast.
Alright then, let's begin the podcast. So as I said, she's a photographer. We're gonna start with the first question. Why photography?
Okay, so as a kid I was very inquisitive about capturing things, but I didn't really have my own camera. But when I was in school, almost in my last year, my mom got me a small phone. And the camera that it had was just 1.3 megapixels. So
Was it a Nokia?
No, it was a phone called Fly.
Oh, one of those brands.
Yes, but it was a good phone.
Polyphonic ringtones. Anyway.
Yes, but it was a good phone. It had a fixed wallpaper. Yeah. So
It had a wallpaper.
Yeah, I did.
My first phone did not. It was a black and white 1100.
No.
Anyway.
So I had that. And I used to take a lot of pictures using that phone, and that's when I actually thought that I could pick this. I could try it out and see how it works out for me. But my father was not really, okay with that idea
Of photography as a career.
As a career, yeah.
Okay.
So that's where the exact journey started.
Okay,
Yeah.
so but this was like your brainchild when you were a kid. But
Yeah.
what happened? Like, what did you do as your first career? Because I know, as far as I know, you didn't start photography from scratch after 10th or 11th.
Not at all. My father wanted me to do commerce,
Yeah.
study commerce,
Okay.
and then study management studies. Although I wanted to get into mass media and arts and stuff like that, so that it would take me more towards the career of art.
Yeah.
Because I was always someone who was not very good with math, history, or any of those subjects.
Yeah.
I was very curious to explore my own brain, my
Okay.
creative side. That's what I wanted to do actually.
But what did you do in actual as a career after 10th or 11th?
Yeah, so I studied commerce
Okay.
and I graduated in management studies.
Okay.
That's what I did.
And you did not try to convince your parents to do photography?
I know, I totally did. My mom was with me. My uncles, who are also photographers, even they convinced, but my father was really against it. He's like, no, you need like a good, stable degree so you can get a good job and a fixed pay every month.
So this story is not going to be super negative, but most of you might relate to her. Because parents and convincing them to go for a creative career or not so conventional or not so mainstream career path is difficult, and it's a struggle faced by many of us. So that's why we are going into this topic. And that was not it. She is a photographer now, so we're gonna also talk about all those journey points
Yes.
and how she reached here and all. But before that, as far as what I know, you did a lot of jobs.
So after my graduation, I did a call center job, which is also known as a BPO job. I worked for a company who makes smoke and heat detectors. I worked for a t-shirt company. I interned at Viacom 18 at MTV. I also worked for a talent management company. Now, that place is where I saw a lot of different talents, like models, makeup artists, prosthetics, then also photographers. So that's when I thought that, actually I can make something out of it. I can give it a shot,
Because you saw them from close.
Yeah, so that really helped me push myself.
But what was the reason behind you jumping from jobs to jobs? Like how long were you doing all this?
Oh, almost 2 years.
So
could
2
be
years,
more.
all these jobs you
Yeah,
were jumping from
around-
one to another.
Yes.
But why were you jumping?
Because monotony, I couldn't deal with that.
Okay.
And also going to the same place every single day, I couldn't do that. Just, talking to people is different thing, but marketing sort of and talking in that sense or in that way was something that I just couldn't do it for too long. There was no motivation as such to keep on doing it. There was no goal to become a marketing person or a sales person.
So
in
it was just
future.
aimless journey.
Yeah.
So for 2 years you were jumping jobs to jobs. And how long are you doing photography now?
I think about 2.5, 3 years or around 3 years.
So 2 years you were jumping from job to job, but now for last 3 years you are consistently
About
doing
three-
photography.
yeah. 3.5
So
years.
that makes sense. Like that means that you wanted to do it and you are quite
Yeah,
happy with
totally.
doing it.
Yeah, I am. I'm still exploring. I'm still not a great photographer. I'm still exploring, researching, trying different things. But if I actually want to become a photographer in a specific genre, then I want to become an architectural and an interior photographer.
But that's a specific journey inside photography which you want to do.
Yeah, but that doesn't just come like that.
Yeah.
You have to go through different things, maybe shoot those things in order to get there. You need some specific kind of gear. Now, again, to get that, you need to have some sort of investment too. I like shooting perspectives.
Yeah.
So I do manage to do that with my kit lens or the lenses that I have.
What kind of perspective are we talking about?
I'm talking about perspective as in not just my perspective, obviously my perspective, but the structures and the buildings and the monuments and whatever we have around us.
Yeah.
So they are made with a sense of perspective of the architect,
Okay.
the person who has built it.
So lines
So
and
lines, squares,
geometry,
boxes,
all-
geometry. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That is what I like.
Because I
Like
remember-
sharp and clean.
around 2014 when we were talking for the first time, and that time we were discussing perspective. It was perspective about
In a different-
sketching.
about-
and-
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's funny that now it's first podcast we are doing
Yeah.
it together and we are talking again about
Perspectives. Yeah.
Quite interesting. So, how are your parents like? How are they reacting to the photography career now?
They're supporting. They're very supportive of my career. Even they know that it's not a very quick process. It's not like every financial year you would get a promotion. It's not like that. It's not like a job. So they know that it has its pros and cons. The pros are that I get to travel so much more than I would have if I was in a normal job.
But how's your dad's reaction? Because as what I understood, he was not okay with your career path for like quite a long time.
Yeah.
So how does he react specifically
So
for?
he actually saw
photography?
me not continuing jobs for more than 5 months. So he did see that I was not very comfortable doing that. After that, he saw that I started shooting, I started getting gigs, and that's how he was okay with that.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much okay. It took some time,
Yeah.
but I think everyone takes their own time to understand.
True.
So
So now he's okay with it.
Yeah, so I gave him his own time.
Yeah.
I gave myself some time as
Yeah.
well.
To also understand if you
yeah.
like it. So the important thing I would like to point out here is like, even if you go for a conventional career, be it engineering or anything of that sort, you always put 3 to 4 years anyway. Like for engineering, I put 4 years, and then you don't get jobs, and then you have to do masters. So masters you put more 2 years. So anyway, you're putting like 6 good years, good amount of years in building your career and then putting efforts in. And when it comes to creativity, people are saying like, oh man, you how are you going to make it, and it's so difficult.
The security.
And, yeah, this is the common thing which we always hear. But even if you see by her example, even in 3.5 years or 3 years, she is able to get good gigs now. She is able to take nice pictures for nice companies.
Yeah, it's a slow process, but you'll get there.
But it's not that slow. That's what I mean to say. It's like 3 years and you are still able to start somewhere. So my friends from Mumbai University, like while I was doing mechanical engineering after we passed out, there were a lot of friends who were ranking really good, and they got the jobs after the college, but the amount of salary they were getting was not so good. And that time I realized like the amount of money I was making through music every week
was
much more than what they were earning after a month.
True.
And again, I was doing music on the side while doing mechanical engineering, but in my case, engineering was not forced on me by my parents. I really wanted to do mechanical engineering, and that's why I wanted to go for it, and that's why I went for it and did it. So it wasn't forced on me by my parents, and it was good because I got lucky with parents. They always supported whatever I did, and creativity from the beginning. I was doing a lot of things, dancing, music, then designing, which I did later, and filmmaking is the freshest thing I'm doing. But they always supported. For me, the struggle from family was not so there, but the struggle which you had, it's pretty common in India, everywhere I see. So the one thing I would like to share with you guys is, yes, it's sometimes difficult to convince your parents to go for a creative field, but before that, make sure that you really like it and it's not one of your experiment, because nowadays everybody's experimenting everything since the beginning. Like everybody has the exposure to try out things what they like.
So I mean, experiment is a part of the whole process. You need to experiment in order to understand if you like it or no. Yeah,
and then you can go to your parents and convince them, and then for convincing you can use different ways. Because of Facebook, WhatsApp and internet, now it's easier for our parents to understand what's really nice and what are the new career paths. And thanks to Jio and all this internet boom in India, for example, the YouTubers were able to get more than 1 million subscribers faster when Jio came in, because now everybody has their phone
packs
and everybody can access and consume the internet. And so now the struggle is getting lesser and lesser, but it's still gonna be there because of the mindset and the generation gap. But it's not impossible if you do it right, if you present it right, if you tell your parents the right thing with the right intention. I think it's super possible.
Yeah, totally.
So that being said, I would really like to understand where did you start the photography and how you gradually started doing it, and how you got gigs and what kind of gigs you did till now.
So I started my photography with a very small course in Mumbai itself. The kind of gigs that I got, I was very lucky to get those because obviously you need to network around. That's how you get work as well. So I started with weddings, covering different events, products, fashion blogger, products with and without models. I shot for the Cool Japan Festival for 2 years. Very lucky again because it is one of the coolest festivals in Mumbai. Yes, in Lower Parel. That happened. I also shot for a fashion blogger called the Bandra Girl. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more because she gave me the freedom to shoot whatever I wanted to. We had the same wavelength. We were able to, think or actually communicate smoothly. I mean, we used to brainstorm and come up, use references and stuff like that. We did that with products. I shot product flat lays. I also shot for food. And again, another super amazing thing that happened in my life was working on a cruise ship for 8 months. I applied for it. I had to wait almost 1.5 years to get my contract. Usually people don't wait so long, but I was like, okay, I need to wait it out. And who would have thought I actually traveled to so many different countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was for photography.
It was for photography, but not too creative. The job was not very creative. It was more of basic photography skills, people skills, sales, marketing, and stuff like that. Teamwork, obviously, because 8 months you live with the same people on the ship.
Yeah.
The best part about it was I could go out in different ports.
Yeah.
I went around Europe. I also went to Israel and Russia. Who would have thought again?
Yeah.
Around Caribbean. That was my first time away from home. So this was the experience that I really I'm glad and I'm very thankful for.
And what are you up to now? Where are you working, or what kind of jobs are you doing?
Just normal small gigs, events, weddings, because it's the wedding season now.
Yeah.
So I'm shooting that. I've gotten into videos, cinematic videos. I try my best to shoot.
Yeah. Why was that transition from photos to videos? Like, it's obvious transition. Like.
Yeah.
But why did you?
Demand first of all. And it's also good to have another added skill. Plus, it's more fun to shoot videos compared to photos. I mean, photos is obviously fun, but I think I'm more inclined towards videos and making stories in films now.
Yeah, nice. The next question I would like to ask you is more into what's happening lately, like. Especially in photography, when you go to a client and when you get to work, they charge you less money. The main point being is like everybody has a DSLR now, or everybody has access to a good camera on their mobile phone. So when you have so many people doing the same thing around you, how do you differentiate yourself from the normal photographers or enthusiasts which are around as a professional? And how do you deal with stress in your head, like if at all it's a stress? Because I see. I'll give you quickly my example. Whenever I am going out and filming something or making a vlog or video, I don't like to call it vlog anymore. Anyway, but wherever I'm going, and if there are too many people doing photography or filming things around me, I tend to not take out my camera and shoot, because then I feel like it's too saturated. Not as a content, but it's too saturated in the place, and I don't feel like doing it, and I'm not inspired enough. So I tend to go somewhere where there are not many people. Like, I don't mind shooting in front of people. It's just that if too many people are shooting around me, then I don't want to be there and shoot. So that's one of the struggles I have.
Yeah,
but how do you deal with it? Like, the fact.
Sometimes I do feel the same, but you're not going to be in the same place again. Maybe you won't. So you need to capture those things. Another thing, to stand out. To stand out, you could consume content of photographers whose style and aesthetics and colors and the use of light you like. You do that, then you use your own creativity and take pictures in that way.
But if I'm a new photographer, even I'm consuming a lot of videos and stuff. That's why I'm enthusiastic to buy a camera and start shooting. So when you have so many people with cameras around you, like even if when you get the client, like most common example would be like you go to a client and client tells you I want to shoot this mug, and then he tells you, like, gives you a quote and which is super cheap, and then when you tell him like, no, this is not affordable, like it's a professional photography, he's like, even my nephew has a camera, I'll get it shot from him. So many people have it, just pressing a button, as you mentioned before. So how do you tackle that? Like, how do you place yourself like, I'm not saying again competing or standing over the other people, but how do you place yourself in this surrounding, like when you have so many people around you doing the same thing?
So that's about what you can offer the client.
Okay.
You promise them good quality pictures, you promise them good aesthetics, you promise them good services, and the services that you have promised in that fee, you know. You explain them that why does it take, because again, going technical, cameras have shutter counts. So as the shutter counts gets used up, the life of the camera also goes sort of down.
Okay, this is new.
Yeah, so there are shutter counts. So you
Okay.
also need to consider those things. A lot of people don't know about this.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
So, but how do you consider that? Like when you see the shutter count, how do you charge differently, or do you
No,
see the
so
experience?
if they get too much in your head,
Yeah.
then you explain them that every time you click the shutter goes off.
Yeah.
Is when one shutter is counted. So you have lakhs of shutter counts in your camera.
Okay.
So that's how it's counted.
Yeah.
So you take the price of the camera, you divide that
Yeah.
by the shutter count, and
Yeah.
you get.
So you also understand how much have you invested and how much are you getting back out
yeah.
of it, which is a good point.
Because
Very
you
expensive.
spend your hours,
Yeah.
you spend your energy, you use your brain.
Yeah.
That is so important in order to get a different shot.
Yeah.
You get materials to form a frame.
Yeah.
Even that costs money, right?
Yeah.
But okay, even if you don't consider those things, it's still your energy and your creativity that needs to be
Yeah.
accounted for. So if the client is still sticking to a smaller budget, maybe you can meet halfway.
Yeah.
And you can tell them that, okay, in this budget I can offer you so many shots.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can get the materials for me in order to form a better frame.
Yeah. So materials
Or
are basically, if you want to do a product photography, the things which you
Yeah.
place around it to make it more aesthetic, it's kind of example of it.
Example, yeah. Or maybe if the client has something lying around in their house,
Yeah.
if that goes with the mug, then you can do that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you try to explain them that
Yeah.
why are you charging them so much.
Yeah, that's very important. Like lately I saw a video on YouTube, like we tend to, if you are into creative field, we tend to charge less all the time, and even I feel when I charge something, I feel I'm charging too much, but it's not at all like according
No.
to the work we are putting in,
Because
it's not
another
at all
thing is,
logical.
Yeah, because another thing is if it's a product,
Yeah.
that person is going to use that picture or that video
Yeah.
for a very long time. So it is an investment.
Yeah, true.
It's not like it's not like food. You
Yeah.
consume food, you pay for it, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. The
True.
experience is just for that time.
So yeah, it's even I tend to charge less, though I'm not in a position to charge yet through videos in music, yes, but still, but I tend to charge less. But I've understood one thing: if you keep your message clear, if you keep your identity clear, if you have presented your identity well, you have to stick to your prices, and no matter what, people will
Yeah.
start paying
And
you
your
because you
experience
present it
also-
well.
Yeah, exactly. And even your experience counts.
Yeah.
So
I would like to ask you to give a message out to any new photographer, how he should approach it, like what mindset he should have and what he should not look for. Like for example, earning money in the beginning is no go, because if you start in that perspective, you'll end up being a poor photographer.
yeah, so if you're still studying, you can on the side start taking pictures and consume different content that
Yeah.
you like, or maybe you can take up a very small basic course. Actually, you find a lot of courses online these days, and most of them are free,
Yeah.
and it's easily accessible anytime throughout the day. There's
Yeah.
YouTube and so many other things, so you can start with that. You take pictures, you make a portfolio. I have been told a lot of times that I need to make a good website,
Yeah.
because again it shows your presence. I mean, you can showcase your pictures and everything, and it sounds more professional
Yeah.
when you do that, and the client has more faith in you when you have things
Yeah.
to show.
Yeah. So take the baby steps. Don't just go and make a
Yeah, don't
Facebook
jump.
page
Yeah.
of photography. That's not
Don't
gonna sell
jump,
anymore.
no.
So take your steps. Try to figure it out, but keep the vision clear that you have to get to this point, and then set
Yeah.
up next point.
Yeah.
The
And
consumption.
you can start.
Yeah.
You could say that, oh, I want to get into product photography, but then you never know. You might get into people photography. You might shoot
Yeah.
people in portraits. You
Keep the
never know.
options open.
Yeah.
About consumption, it's a good point. What you consume is gonna reflect on how you work. We are not talking about
Or
copying
how you
somebody's
think.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you think, and we are not talking about some copying somebody's work. But when you consume good things, you're gonna reflect on it better, you're gonna get more perspective, and you're gonna develop or produce better work. And when I say consumption, don't only go for tutorials. What I do, or what I love to do, it's going through interviews of people and going through their real activity work. For example, if they are doing some assignment, I would like to see the videos where working on something, not only getting inspired from their work, but how they are in person, how is their personality, how do they think, how do they talk, because it's all about conversation. Like how the person is gonna reflect in their work. So I always prefer watching documentaries and interviews of real people, because it's more real, other than watching movies these days, though I watch good movies, but I'm inclined towards watching interviews, and it helps a lot. And at the same time, I would like to suggest you that I usually don't go for the interviews of the people in the same career field all the time. It's more about the people who are inspirational or have done so many good things. For example, if I'm shooting or if I'm doing design, particularly for the brands in the service design, I will watch videos of good service designer or good cinematographers, but at the same time, I'll also watch videos of good architects, good people in graphic design, or good people in shoe design or automobile design. Like getting inspiration from all around.
Yeah, exactly. Even those things really help and adds to your thinking process.
Yeah. And it shapes you as a person, because at the end of the day, whatever you are trying to say through your lenses, through your music, through your sketches, it's a conversation, it's a communication, it's a message you want to give out. Be it your own message or be it a brand's message, but it's in the end of the day, it's communication, and communication is more into your personal space or more into your personality. So developing your personality along with the craft is very important, and I feel it's a key factor in building your personality and building you as your own brand.
Right.
Thank you, Prachi, for coming on this podcast.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
You are the first one on the podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying till the end. It means super a lot to me. In the end, don't forget to have fun.
Because having fun is not an option.
Thank you for watching.
Singing, but yes. Thank you.
See you when I see you. Ciao, ciao.